As mentioned in our podcast last week, today we have one of the founders of Vurdere as our guest. Daniel has founded 5 companies in the last 12 years and invested in another 6. He has raised over 5 million euros for his current portfolio and has 2 exits already. In addition to having co-founded Vurdere, Daniel is also its chief growth officer. Vurdere is a SaaS engagement platform for online retailers. Vurdere connects social profiles to ratings and reviews, which makes shopping convenient for customers and consumers. Thanks, Daniel, for making it on our podcast. It's a real pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Vina. Thank you for asking me.
So, Daniel, do you want to just give a quick introduction of yourself and a bit about what
Sure.
Vurdere does?
Yeah, of course. I'm co-founder of Vurdere. Vurdere was a Brazilian company. We started in South America 4 years ago. Then we moved the headquarters to the Netherlands, which turned out that we became a Dutch company. And Vurdere is actually in a very interesting marketplace where we are trying to bring authenticity and connections among shoppers and people that leave content in the e-commerce. So if you go browse around and try to find a product to buy, what we are trying to do is to put people that are most close to you in terms of values, in terms of taste, in a social environment, and then personalize the entire purchase journey to that shopper at that moment. So with that, we think that we will impact more. Shoppers will get more reliable information about the product, about the service, about the brands. And turns out that is true. And as a side effect, we have a boost in their conversion rates, SEO, better quality in the content. So we are solving a very good problem, which is sometimes e-commerce, they have a poor product description. Sometimes they have less information that is needed for a more technical sale. And we allowed people to interact and answer those questions and provide a better quality information about the product.
So, Daniel, just to distill that, it sounds to me like you are the modern day version of us checking with friends and family about what they bought, how they felt about it, their
Yeah,
opinions, and that sort
exactly.
of thing.
True enough. It's when we started the company, we were actually discussing that over a beer table, and it was more or less like you're going to a restaurant in the middle of Rome, and you go to TripAdvisor, start to reading reviews about a restaurant, very bad reviews, but you're hungry and you were there anyway. So
Yeah.
you went to I actually went to the restaurant, and I had an amazing time, which is people that reviewed the restaurant, they didn't have the same context that I had in that moment. I was looking for an experience, good food, and people were there just to, like a fast food chain, right? To not to spend some time. We were just slow dining
Yeah.
among friends and have wine. So what we're trying to do, and it's happening already, is shoppers, they change their behavior. Now they are more used to look for closer friends or people that they rely on to get more information about what they're going to do or what they're going to buy.
Yeah.
And what we are doing is simply delivering that dynamic to brands and to the companies and brands transactional platform. They are already using it in the social networks.
Yeah.
But in the social networks, they don't have the data, they don't have the connections, they cannot see the return of investment on every campaign they have.
Mm-hmm.
On their transactional environment, they can see that, and they can figure out which are the shoppers that are increasing the conversion, which are the shoppers that are increasing the network, which are the shoppers that can actually become micro influencers. So it is a social behavior theory that we apply to online purchase journeys.
That's really interesting. So if I go into, let's say, a website looking to buy a laptop, let's say, and you have Vurdere embedded into their platform on their e-commerce site, I can see reviews that others have left on the laptop that are similar to me. Is that how it works? And then I can see if they are connected to me on Facebook, Instagram, and that sort of thing, and know that these are people I know, I trust, or are similar to me in some way. So we are looking for similar things, and that influences me to buy the laptop far more than seeing random people.
Exactly. It's more than only reviews. I mean, we create an entire environment that is social. People can interact with the product, people can interact with other people, and we use those services that are already there within the product display page to engage people, to spend time and get more information about it. It is like that. So people will join the brand's network. That's exactly what we are trying to create. We are trying to create the brand's network within their e-commerce. And so people will belong into a community. And the most important part of it is that you can social proof every single product and get insights of real time from the people visiting your website. And when you connect and you put people to interact and engage, our AI, we have algorithms behind the scenes, just understanding who you are and what do you want to do within the network. Who are the people that are close to you in relation of your social background, which we can connect from your Facebook account, or you can tell us what you like. And then we started to understand your behavior and what you like. And we put people that are pretty similar to you on top of it. So we personalize everything. The people that you can talk to and the content you're going to see it.
Got it. That's really, so one of the things you mentioned was very interesting. So you mentioned something around the lines of the brands getting to create a community of people that love and trust them. So how does that work? So I know as a consumer what value I get from Vurdere as someone who's buying and whose community of people I can trust on for reviews. But as a brand, what else do I get other than the increased conversion rates?
Exactly. One thing that we see that is happening in every single customer of ours is that we can find easily the brand advocates. So the first thing that starts to happen is people appearing in your online store. So you're gonna see a lot of people smiling and appearing in every product display page. Those people, they start to sell your product. So the community, let's say the social effect starts to kick in when you grew the brand advocates selling the products. So it's more or less, let's go back to the restaurant. When you're in a let's say in a street with many restaurants, which one are you going to have your dinner? The one that is full of people, live, dynamic, and you see things going on, or the other one with this empty, no faces, no people laughing and smiling? Which one do you prefer to go in? So it's more or less the same feeling when you look into one of our customers' web store. You're gonna see a lot of people selling the product. This is the first impact that we cause. After that, I would say that the brands can track everything. the most important thing for us is to provide information about every single person in that network. That's very different from what's going on social networks, because you don't have the data. It's not your data. It's Facebook's data. It is Instagram data. So you don't have the data, and we provide that data. How strong are the connections among the people within the network? How good? How can I say it? How good is the quality of the content left in the conversation? If you have a question and answers part of it, how good is the question? How good is the answers that you're receiving? How good is the quality of the reviews you're receiving? Those are things that we bring on top of the solutions, so we can personalize the journey. It's not only about the social background, but how good is the content left in the page. Another thing that when you have, and that's a virtual cycle, let's say, when you have a better content, more content, better quality, then you're going to increase the opt-in of other members of this community.
Yeah.
When you have a dynamic of full of people within the product display page, Google loves it. So the better quality in the content and more people joining this network, Google loves it. So SEO is going to boost afterwards.
Great. And you mentioned around increasing or customizing the customer journey. Can you shed a little bit more light on that? As in, I'm assuming that sort of translates to increased customer engagement. So how does that work?
I can give you an example. For instance, we have one of the biggest South American wine store, right?
Yeah.
And I love wine, so I've lived in Italy. It's one of my passions. So I use now I'm in the Netherlands, so I use another web store. But when I was in Brazil, I was using the solution, and when I was browsing around trying to find a new product to taste, and I love red wines. So Vurdere was, as a user, was really helpful for me, because I could see people that were most like me with the same taste. And our AI, the AI can understand those tastes. I prefer strong red wines with more time in the oaks barrels. So after a while, since I was browsing around, the algorithm understood me and put people and content from other people that are most like me, but talking about this taste that I have. So sometimes I go to Pinot Noir, which is, let's say, a lighter wine, in their website, and the review that comes for me is going to be, oh, this is a good wine, but it's very light for, let's say, sunny days to spend time in the. So more context about this, and probably I won't like that.
Yep.
I prefer strong wines. That's what we are bringing. It's context and experience from people, peers, that can make you decide to buy or not. That's a pattern that we are trying to change in the industry. If you go to a marketplace, let's say you're going to buy something on Amazon, what is the first thing that you do when you're trying to decide a product? You go to the reviews, and then you focus on the bad reviews.
Yes.
So you're deciding not to buy instead of buying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are trying to change that, bringing more context and more authenticity and experience when deliver the content. That's it. That's how we do it.
Great. That sounds so. If I get that right, so let's say if I go into, let's say, a clothing store, and I'm looking for a specific type of dress, outfit, and I start looking at a few things, and I see some that are interesting, but there's others that I see that maybe not very interested. How would your technology know what I'd be interested in and not based on what I'm looking at?
I can give you another example. We are mostly focusing on images, of course, because now when you turn something into a network, then people will share media, photos. Uh, our AI has the ability of understanding your tone of skin, your hair color. We and then we can understand for cosmetics and clothing, we can adjust and recommend products from people that has the same hair color, the same tone of skin.
Ah,
Sometimes we can understand that a pattern on people with the same tone of skin buying a specific color of clothes. That's the same thing happens for grapes in the wine,
yeah,
or we have a huge marketplace selling products for homes. So we can understand, for instance, people buying a sofa, they prefer a certain type of carpet, and we can recommend that. We can recommend also content reviews talking about this dynamic of upselling and cross-selling. So it is I'm gonna be very technical now, but
yeah, yeah.
we are getting many inputs from different variables,
Mm-hmm.
and we use our algorithms and machine learning to understand patterns that we can perceive within the in the purchase journey behavior. So to be honest, we spent almost 2 years studying and research that on Cambridge University at Cambridge in the
Mm-hmm.
UK. And we applied that knowledge in only one customer for almost 18 months. So just fine tuning how we could convert 0.1% higher every week,
Yeah.
understand the behavior. And after a while, we saw that that kind of patterns and put those variables to work for the solution and to help selling actually sold a lot.
Great. And so I know we've been speaking about restaurants, furniture, and that sort of thing, but I know that you have customers who are in the fast-moving consumer goods space or the CPG space, and the retail space. Can you shed a little more light on how this would apply in that space as well?
Yeah, it's basically the same theory behind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, people will buy socially today.
Yeah.
It's the way they do. And we can turn everything into a social experience, and use the social environment to engage more. So, of when you have strong relationship with the brands, with the products, and you need more context and experience with the product, we are gonna work. It's in every industry. We have CPG is one of them, but we are also selling bus tickets, lottery tickets,
Right.
and the social engagement is always there.
Yeah.
Within every audience, in every industry, in every company, every brand, you have your brand advocates.
Yeah.
Those are the early adopters that will join and start this, that will kick in the social effect. And once you start kicking the social effect and people start understand the dynamic and how engaging is the experience, then they're going to join and you're going to see the benefits. You're going to boost the time spent in the product display page. You're going to increase the value per session. You're gonna increase the percentage of people that actually goes to the review part. And when you spend more time within the product display page, then of course it's directly proportional to the conversion rate you increase. And the most important thing for us is to increase the LTV, the lifetime value.
Yeah.
So when you're spending more time and delivering a better content, you're improving the customer satisfaction levels after you purchase the product. So they, they have a better view what they're buying. So the customer satisfaction levels increase, and this is directly aligned with the LTV. So this is a good KPI to keep in mind, that social is directly influencing the LTV.
Yep, I can see that, because it's all about the community around you, the people that you trust, and you feel included, and you feel like you're part of something, and you buy the product that everyone else is buying, and it's just a positive result on the overall.
Yeah, exactly. And and we have many numbers to share with you, because it is when we do that, people say, yeah, but you have to start the network. It's going to take time for people to join. That's true. It takes time, but we see the benefits going on from the start. The first month, we already had seen improvements in SEO, better quality in the content left in the page, more and more reviews collected. So this is how we differentiate ourselves from the other review tools in the market.
Interesting one. So just following on from that comment, who else does what you do at the moment, and how are you different from them?
Yeah, this is a very competitive marketplace we are in. So we are talking with unicorns in the United States and here in Europe. So Bazaar was one of the biggest. Then we have the Danish Trustpilot, and they are pretty good tools. They are all about analytics and collecting and syndicating a lot of reviews. In our case, what we are trying to do differently is to bring intelligence to the tool. Yeah. So how we do that is mostly bringing the social aspect, the social background, social profile from every single shopper, and try to use that to leverage content for other shoppers with the same social background.
Got it. And I'm assuming that that particular aspect is something that most others don't do as yet. The fact that you link the reviews being left with social profiles and social content.
No, they don't do it. They don't do it. They don't do it. They also don't actually audit the quality of the content left. They can measure the sentiment of people, the feeling they're talking about, what they're talking about the product, if it is good or not, but they don't have actually the view of what's going on. And when you do that, when you have the intelligence to understand what's written in let's say in such detail like keywords, you can actually automate the output processes that you have there. And we get a lot of questions about how can you avoid bad wording and haters.
Yeah.
And this is, for us, it's pretty easy because we understand what's written, and when it happens, we automatically send to the customer support, and they can do a one-to-one approach in that sense and solve the problem. So when we have the power of automate the entire process, you are actually helping the companies and brands to save some money on support.
That is really interesting, because what I just heard from you is that you automate the you make the life of the customer service person easier by automating the process of weeding out the bad reviews from the good ones and just sending it to them so they can just focus on those ones and replying to those.
Yeah, that's one part, one other process that you can do
Yes.
with our
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah.
But we have customers selling funny gifts in South America, for instance, and they automated a process that they can collect the most funny reviews. So we understand the
Right.
most funny reviews, and they can
Yeah.
promote those reviews within their website or their loyalty programs.
Yeah.
We can also filter and create an automated process for the best reviews. We are grading
Yeah.
the reviews in terms of quality, so they can create an automated process and understand what are the best reviews and also promote that. So there are many things you can do with the data that we collect and the KPIs we measure.
Great. So, Danielle, couple of questions around your journey so far, how you've got to where you are at the moment, because I believe you started off in Brazil, right?
Yeah, I'll give you some background. So
Yeah.
my co-founder actually started the company. He was researching human behavior at Cambridge University. And after that, we applied into a web store selling books in Brazil, and they had a huge competition from a company called Amazon selling in Brazil as well. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and what happened was Amazon actually inflation increased so much the cost for paid campaigns on Google, and we got that bookstore being placed in the first positions for quite some time without paying anything extra, mostly
Wow.
because
Okay.
the content and so a huge company beating a small company in their local market, but they fought very bravely for quite some time, just using the content that we collect at the time. And then we expanded a little bit more. We decided to go into the market when we had a strong and validated solution. Uh, and when we did that, we were competing with against international companies like Vurdere, Trustpilot in our backyard. So we decided, no, we need to go global and approach different markets at the same time, and also poke those companies in their backyard too, right? So
Yeah.
so we did that movement, and we moved the headquarters here to the Netherlands, which is a good place to start a business. And to be honest, we had the two main reasons. One is the competition. So we need to go into a more international stage. And the second one was to raise money. So
Yes.
as you may know, we in Brazil we don't have a strong currency at the moment, and when you're trying to go global, you have to have a strong currency in your bank account. So
Yeah. Yeah.
fortunately, we got in contact with many investors in Europe, which actually love the solution, embrace the thesis that we had. The social commerce is actually a trend in every single circle in retail and
Yeah.
online retail. And then we started to approach different markets. So now, of course, we have the Latin background a little bit. So we are tracking faster on Latin countries and Southern European countries.
Yep.
We're still working our way through the British market, the American market, here in the Netherlands. It's challenging, but it is fun.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for the current times, you will be able to add a lot of value for customers as well, right? With rampant inflation and consumers switching to different brands because one, they are looking for lower prices. Two, they are just not engaged enough. So I know that in the last few weeks, I've heard a lot about brands looking for new ways to engage their customers and keep them. So can you shed a bit more light on how Vurdere can help with that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, after pandemic, you know that better than me. You saw very big companies entering the online market. So
Yes.
they are not used to that. So they entered the online market, and inflation was actually you could explain that by saying that the cost of acquisition of new customer increased so much, right? So with that, in that perspective, let's say, companies started to pay more to get more customers in. And what we do, we try to optimize that cost for customers. I cannot help with a customer acquisition cost,
Yeah.
but I can help a lot with keeping that customer engaged within the entire lifetime they have with our customers. And that's a strong, let's say, a strong sales pitch at the moment because we can provide numbers that we can increase the LTV and optimize what they're paying more to get that customer in.
Got it. And is there a way you can work with companies that don't necessarily have an online presence? So just physical stores. So they might have a website with the supermarket and people leave reviews on other websites about them. Is there a way you can work with those sorts of companies, or is it mainly companies that have their own e-commerce websites where people leave reviews?
No, we started with the online retail and companies selling online. But now we saw that we have some appealing values on where actually you have an audience interacting with the product. So not only selling the product, but showing the product. So you have the product catalog you want to promote, and you want to understand who are the people visiting that product, what they like, and how they interact. So social proofing the product, we can do it. We are talking with several companies, CPG companies, where they don't sell directly, they sell through marketplaces.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we can install our solution over there so they can collect content from people talking about the product and experiences they had with the product. But we also have a solution that can extend the relationship among the company, let's say the manufacturer, and the sales channels that they are using currently. For instance, we have a huge sports marketplace in Brazil selling sport articles,
Yep.
and they are selling other stores within their marketplace. So Nike, Adidas, they're all part of that marketplace selling articles over there. And when people leave a review or they interact with the Nike products, we can syndicate the relationship to Nike's web store. Actually, Nike is selling the products in their web store, so we can measure the conversion rates that we increase by sharing the content. But let's say you have let's say Ben & Jerry's from Unilever, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they have an amazing web store, and they want to know how people will behave around the products and give insights about that product. We can do that, and if you're installed in one of their sales channel, we can share the content. So they can measure the conversions that they are having on those sales channels, but they also can understand the impact people are the impact they have on both websites.
Interesting. Got it. Okay. So that naturally keeps people using their product again and again because they have all of this rich data on how their consumers are engaging with the product, and they can use that to strengthen that relationship with the consumer, keep them interested, keep them buying, and that sort of thing.
And we are extending the network from the product and the brand to other sales channels and other brands, and creating a community all around. But of course, everything is compliant with GDPR, so we have to have some processes and security in place to do that, and people have to consent on that. So it is important to say that data is a very sensitive topic for us.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that you categorize the data rather than and anonymize it rather than giving very specific data on specific behaviors, because we hear that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't collect sensitive data. That's the main part of it. Our technology, they can understand behavior and understand patterns. So we don't need to collect a lot of data, and we do not collect sensitive data. No documents, no security numbers, nothing.
Yeah.
We only collect data, but we treat data as sensitive. So everything that you should do with sensitive data, we do it.
Great. And who owns the data? Is it you? Is it the?
It's a brand.
It's the brand.
We are mainly a processor of the data. Let's say the brand and the company is it's the manager of the data, but ultimately the end user is the owner of the data. So there are many processes on top of that, so people can take it out, delete their profile, delete their content. Users owns the data everywhere.
Got it. Okay. That would be very reassuring for a lot of our listeners, because it's a question that we keep hearing again and again. It's all about who owns the data.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for asking me to talk a little bit about the company and the product. It's an amazing journey so far, and we are very happy. I'm very happy to be here and discuss with you these new trends. And any questions you have on how to internationalize the company, every question, just send me. I'll be happy to answer.
Great. Cool. And in terms of being on our podcast, thank you so very much, because we are looking at different types of tech every 2 weeks now, and looking at how social reviews and connecting how people buy and make decisions with social profiles, how that influences people's buying decisions, has been like top of a lot of people's list of topics to discuss and look at. So it's been a real pleasure having you on our podcast.
Thank you so much, Vina.
Thanks, Daniel. If you have any questions or comments on Vurdere, contact Daniel on daniel@vurdere.com. That is DANIEL @Vurdere, VURDERE.com. If you have any questions or comments about reviews and how they help, leave a comment here if you're watching on YouTube, and we'll get back to you. If you are listening to this on Apple or Spotify, email me on vina@salesbeat.co with any questions. Thank you for listening.